So, President Trump has been president for 2 weeks, and that has caused me to come up with a list of the top 10 places that you should definitely try to avoid if you are not a United States citizen or you do not have your green card, your permanent resident card here in the United States. Um, Number one, courthouses. Now, if you have a court hearing, go. You must go. If you skip your court hearing, they may issue a warrant for your arrest. However, what I mean is, if it's not your court hearing, you don't have to go with a friend. And if it's something that you could do at home, like pay a fine, you don't have to go in the courthouse to pay the fine. You could mail that, pay it online, or have someone else go and pay it for you. So avoid the courthouse. Number two, DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles. If you don't have the proper paperwork to get your driver's license and you go to the DMV, you may just have given yourself away. So, unless you have the proper paperwork, do not go. Number three, hospitals. Now, if you have an emergency, go. Please go to the hospital if you have an emergency. But if you do not have an emergency, don't go. ICE is allowed to go in hospitals, so do not go unless it's an emergency. Number four, airports and train stations. Seriously, why are you there unless you're actually traveling or leaving the country? Because we already know that there's heightened security in those areas. ICE is all over the airports and train stations. So don't go there unless you have to. Number six, workplaces. We've seen so many raids in different workplaces these past 2 weeks. Primarily, if you work in agriculture, if you work in construction, if you work in a restaurant, just be very, very careful. Number six, any public benefit offices. I would avoid those because in order to receive some of these benefits, you have to give them paperwork that could prove your status. And again, you do not want to expose yourself. Number seven, avoid any type of immigration offices without your attorney. So for your ICE check-in, if you could go with an attorney, please do so, because we have ICE officers just hanging out in some of these ICE check-in places. Even if you have court, and you have to be there physically, go with your attorney, because again, there are ICE officers hanging out the courthouse, so you want to be protected with your counsel. Number eight, avoid big gathering, large gathering, any type of protest or demonstrations. Avoid that, because those big, large gathering may attract police officers, and that's the last thing you want to attract right now. So avoid big gatherings. Number nine, Social Security Administration. Avoid that office or those type of governmental office, only because there will be heightened security and more verification. So again, you're exposing your status when you do not have to. So just sit patiently and wait for your Social Security card to come to you if one is due to you. And number 10, driving. If driving was a place, don't do it. Maybe it's a place inside your car, right? What we've seen is an increase of traffic checkpoints where officers are stopping individuals at certain checkpoints to check for DUIs, driving under the influence. And they could ask you for certain documents at this check stop. So you don't want to put yourself in that position. And if you do not have a valid driver's license, you shouldn't be driving anyways. So don't get caught driving because you don't want to be arrested for that. You don't want to be arrested at this time here in the United States as an immigrant with no status. So those are my top 10 places. Again, if you're not a United States citizen or you do not have your green card, I would avoid those places. Remember, you have the right to remain silent. Carry your I have the right to remain silent card with you at all time. Give it to an officer if an officer ever stops you. Again, you have the right to an attorney. Just because you don't have status here does not mean you do not have rights. You do. You have rights under the United States Constitution, so exercise those rights. Rolanda Adolph with Adolph Law Group. Let's continue to pray for our immigrant community. I know I will. Join me.